Right now, a community is mourning the loss of a woman who died in a crash. What law enforcement is saying about the incident at this time. Plus, President Trump pushes back against new data that shows the economy contracted in the first quarter. What the White House is saying about the negative GDP report. This is News 3 Now at noon. And thank you so much for joining us today. We begin in Cottage Grove, where community members are mourning the loss of Dr. Cami Hansen. The Cottage Grove chiropractor, who was a wife and mom of 3, died from her injuries after she and her family were struck by a vehicle Monday night. At 7 last night, community members gathered at Abiding Shepherd Lutheran Church to remember the victim, Dr. Cami Hansen. News 3 did not attend the vigil to give community members privacy. Dr. Hansen was a chiropractor with Heartland Family Chiropractic. According to a Facebook post by the Cottage Grove Chamber of Commerce, she was also a chamber member and a board director. Neighbors who were at the scene last night tell us they saw police put someone in handcuffs. Police say the crash is still under investigation. And a teenager is out of jail on a $2,000 cash bond. That's after the Adams County Sheriff's Department found him with multiple fully automatic firearms parts and accessories. 17-year-old Aiden Seeley Siegert is charged with 12 felonies. The sheriff's office conducted a search warrant on April 24th in the town of Adams. It led to the discovery of firearms parts used to convert semi-automatic guns into fully automatic guns. Sheriffs also found 3D printed handguns with no serial numbers, which are known as ghost guns. Siegert is due in court on May 20th. And Madison police are looking to the public for help in identifying a man who allegedly committed battery at a bus stop Sunday afternoon. They're looking for the man you see on your screen now. Officers were sent to the East Washington Avenue and Blair Street intersection bus stop at around 2:40 Sunday afternoon. They found 2 people who were injured. Both were taken to the hospital. Police say the suspect had left the scene before they arrived. If you have any information regarding this person, you can call Madison Police at 608-255-2345, or you can send a tip to p3tips.com. And the state Supreme Court has temporarily suspended Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan. Officers arrested Dugan on federal charges February 18th. Authorities accuse her of helping a man evade ICE agents who were stationed to arrest him in a hallway outside of the courtroom. The man left, but police later arrested him. In its order, the liberal court said it suspended Dugan to protect public confidence in Wisconsin courts. And some Fitchburg residents are concerned about a recently passed wheel tax that'll soon go into effect. Earlier this month, the city's Common Council voted to approve the tax. This requires residents to pay a $40 registration fee along with the state renewal and Dane County registration fees. One resident feels that in the current economic climate, the tax just won't work out. But Fitchburg Mayor Julia Arata-Frata says the tax is critical to ensure the city's financial stability. The fee is projected to make $1 million in revenue to be used for transportation purchases.
Good experience, especially in the hard times right now. A lot of people getting laid off. It's, I don't know, for working class, I guess, or people who are just making do. It's not working out for us.
And in a statement on the city's website, Fitchburg Mayor Julia Arata-Frata said, quote, "I understand the burden any new fee places on our residents. However, ensuring the financial stability of our city is critical." The city also says the funds allocated will be for transportation-related purposes. The fee is projected to make $1 million in revenue. And meanwhile, State Senator Patrick Testin is introducing new legislation that hopes to encourage more video game production companies to come to the state. The video game industry is growing at a rate of about 7.5% per year. The industry has a global market value of about $700 billion. $140 billion of that comes from the U.S. Raven Software, which is based here in Madison. They employ 200 people. The company supports Activision's Call of Duty. The legislation would include a 30% tax credit for wages paid and services rendered in the state. And let's go to the weather now, where it's quiet, but it could change later. Tonight, First Warn meteorologist Jacob Montesano has a look at what's to come. Jacob.
Thanks, Armand. Right now, definitely seeing very nice conditions, but we are expecting rain tonight. Now, the good news is that it likely won't enter our area until after sunset. Now, taking a look at the current conditions, 59 right now in Madison. Honestly feels a little bit warmer out here with the sun shining and the very little wind, but overall very nice across southern Wisconsin. A little bit cooler closer to Lake Michigan, though, where highs only in the middle 40s. Now, like I mentioned, we're not really seeing a lot of wind right now, and taking a look at the current wind speeds, only around 10 to 15 miles per hour in the gustiest spots, but a lot of the area seeing those wind speeds a little bit calmer than that. Now, we're seeing sunshine right now, but we're going to see mostly cloudy skies for the afternoon and evening. But we should be dry with highs in the middle 60s. But taking a look at the rainfall forecast, we are expecting rain by the time we get to the overnight hours. But as you can see, through around 7 to 8 p.m., still going to be mostly dry. But then consistent rain is expected later in the night, and that rain is going to continue into Thursday morning. And overall, Thursday is expected to be pretty rainy, but we're not expecting severe weather. So I'll talk more in detail about this and show you a very nice weekend forecast coming up. Of all those details a little bit later.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Nice weekend. I'm ready for summer, Jacob.
Yeah, it's going to feel a little bit like summer by the time we get to next week also.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And President Trump is urging patience after new government data shows the U.S. economy contracted in the first quarter of 2025. The lower GDP number comes as businesses around the world are adjusting to the president's new tariff policies. Natalie Brand has the latest from the White House, where the president will be joined by a number of CEOs later on today as he delivers remarks on investing in America.
Just started,
A day after President Trump celebrated the first 100 days of his second term, new government data on the GDP shows the U.S. economy contracted in the first quarter for the first time in 3 years. The Trump administration is downplaying the report.
we had a fairly extraordinary surge of imports that was totally driven by the rest of the world trying to get their products in here before the tariffs took full hold.
In a social media post, the president urged patience and blamed the Biden administration for the numbers.
That's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January. This is quarterly numbers.
The economic data comes as the president has invited top business leaders, including CEOs from NVIDIA and Johnson & Johnson, to the White House later this afternoon to tout new investments in the U.S.
They're building because of the tariffs, and November 5th gave them the tariffs.
But many Americans say they're feeling the pinch now.
Your food went up, gas went up, our wages went down.
Utility bills have went up. Groceries have went sky high.
While the president has said China wants to make a trade deal, on Wednesday he said there is no update on negotiations. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
And Wall Street opened lower following the GDP report. The S&P 500 fell 1.5% in Wednesday morning trading. The Dow Jones and the Nasdaq were also down. Well, Wisconsin joins 23 states in a new lawsuit against the Trump administration. It's a multi-state lawsuit to challenge the administration's move to dismantle AmeriCorps. The lawsuit claims the administration acted unlawfully by placing most of the agency's workforce on leave and abruptly ending grants, effectively shutting down many operations. State Attorney General Josh Kaul says the decision disrespects those who serve communities. AmeriCorps supports more than 200,000 volunteers annually. Volunteers work on issues from disaster relief to education to veteran services. And the Milwaukee Bucks season is now over after last night's loss to the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers eliminated the Bucks from the playoffs in the first round for the second straight season. Indiana forced 2 turnovers in the final 29 seconds of overtime. Then Tyrese Halliburton blew past Giannis Antetokounmpo with just over a second left to secure the win, 119-118. The Bucks now enter the offseason with a lot of questions, including Giannis' future with the team. Well, coming up after the break, why General Motors is recalling thousands of vehicles. Plus, UPS plans to lay off hundreds of people this year. The reason behind those cuts.
You're watching News 3 Now at noon. Moving forward.
Pharmaceutical company Merck is investing $1 billion in a new plant in Delaware where it will make cancer drug Keytruda. The company says the facility is expected to be up and running by 2028 and will create more than 500 full-time jobs and 4,000 construction jobs. The announcement comes as President Trump has signaled plans to put tariffs on pharmaceuticals in his push to boost domestic manufacturing. General Motors is recalling nearly 600,000 Cadillac, Chevrolet, and GMC trucks and SUVs because their V8 engines can fail without warning, increasing the risk of a crash. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says manufacturing defects in the engine's components are to blame for the engine failures. The agency says it has received at least 39 reports of incidents. GM says it will send notices to affected owners by June for free repair at a dealership. And UPS says it plans to cut around 20,000 jobs this year in order to slash costs. The layoffs are linked to the parcel company's decision to deliver fewer packages from Amazon, its biggest customer. UPS says it also plans to close more than 70 buildings by the end of June. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
And here's a closer look now at the current stock numbers. The Dow is down 237, NASDAQ down 245, and the S&P 500 is down 52. And our call for action volunteers are in the building, taking your consumer complaints and taking action on your behalf. You can call for action at 608-270-2833 or submit a claim anytime at channel3000.com/call for action. And up next, Pam is back with the ag numbers and Jacob is back with the forecast. Then later on Live at 4, if you have a question or concern about your plants or garden, it's time to send us your questions via email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will be here on Live at 4 with those answers. Again, that's tips@channel3000.com. Welcome back. Let's check in now with Farm Babe Pam Yankee for your Midwest Farm Report. Plan to get outside today, Pam?
Yes, indeed. It's not bad out there. A nice fresh breeze, but not too much. I'm hoping the weather is going to be nice this weekend. Not for me, but for a lot of folks that are headed towards Kentucky this weekend, running for the Roses, the Kentucky Derby, 151. I was down in Kentucky on my vacation, and you can't get the Farm Babe to stop her job. I love what I do. Take a look at some of the pictures. We went to a place called Old Friends. It's actually a retirement home for some of the thoroughbreds that have previously won the Kentucky Derby or might have been very successful in racing. Pretty cool spot. They've got about 300 acres in Georgetown, Kentucky, where some of these previous champions have come to live. And recognizable names for somebody like me, anyhow. Big Brown, one of those horses that crossed the finish line at Churchill Downs as a winner. Now in his 20s, he's retired to Old Friends. The oldest living Kentucky Derby winner is one that's also there named Silver Charm. That horse now into his 30s. And like I said, it's not just about thoroughbreds. It's also about standardbreds and other horses that have retired there. And every one of them has a story. If the horses could have talked, I would have never left because they obviously love the attention. Just something to think about when you watch the Running for the Roses, the Kentucky Derby this weekend. After those horses have concluded their race careers, after they're done standing stud, where do they go next? Well, for some of them, it literally is out to pasture at Old Friends. Pretty cool place. And like I said, tomorrow we're going to be talking a little bit more about Wisconsin's role in the Kentucky Derby. We've got a lot of folks that are going to be coming into Louisville, and guess what? Wisconsin cheese is going to be the focal point. I'll share more on that with you tomorrow. So today, the markets, as far as commodities are concerned, corn turned the corner a little bit. This morning, it was trading about a nickel lower. Now it's on the positive, but soybeans still feeling some downward pressure. We're putting more acres into soybeans as far as the U.S. planting schedule is concerned. And again, still wondering what that world marketplace is going to look like by this fall when we want to sell. South America's got a very aggressive crop that they are harvesting and shipping right now. So that's some of the anxiety that traders are working with as far as our grains are concerned. Dairy markets have been holding pretty firm overall. Fluid milk contracts are up on the midday in Chicago for that class 3 milk that goes into cheese. Barrel cheese today in Chicago down down 1/4 cent at 170. 40-pound block cheese, another penny stronger at 173. While AA butter regained some of the losses we've experienced over the past couple of days, up 5.5 to close on a Wednesday at $2.29.5 per pound. So yeah, I'll keep the horsey theme going with us this week, Armand. There's enough stories about the equine industry, not just in Kentucky, but Wisconsin's influence and activities down at Churchill Downs. I thought we'll share that for the next couple of days.
They really should get those horses their own derby hats, those fancy flowery ones there too.
Yeah, well, I think if they did, they'd end up eating them instead of wearing them.
Good point. But hey, they're retired. They can do what they want.
Yeah,
All
that's right. It's true.
Thanks, Pam. What about you? You ever seen the horse races there at the Kentucky Derby, Jacob?
I've seen clips. I'm a big fan of, racing in general, so I always like to check it out. I know last year it was like one of the closest Kentucky Derbies ever, and I think the year before, the winner was like the biggest long shot. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, the last 2 years have been pretty exciting down there. Now, taking a look at the forecast, the 3 things you need to know. We are going to see some showers tonight and tomorrow. Not very pleasant for your Thursday, but pretty much every other day on the forecast is looking very nice. Mild temperatures over the weekend. And then borderline warm next week, where highs are expected to get into the middle 70s. Now let's first start with that rainfall. We are going to see cloudy skies throughout the afternoon and evening. Still could see a few peaks of sunshine, but once we get to the later overnight hours, probably not until closer to midnight, we'll see consistent shower and maybe a few isolated thunderstorms with some heavy rain possible, especially areas east of Madison. But again, we're not expecting severe weather with this round of rain, but pretty much everybody will see scattered showers, especially for Thursday morning, getting a little bit better by the late morning and afternoon, but we still could be seeing some lingering showers and excuse me, and possibly still a few isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon. But once we get to the evening hours Thursday, a lot of it will clear out of the area, but we still could see some lingering showers. Once again, maybe a few isolated storms for Thursday night. But then Friday, we're going to be mostly dry with just a small chance of rain throughout the day. So taking a look at the amount of rain that is expected, we aren't going to see anything too dramatic, but around a ½ inch to a full inch is definitely possible. Again, the heaviest does look to be in southeastern Wisconsin. But notice everybody could see at least a ½ inch of rainfall, which is definitely some rain that we need considering April. We have been a little bit below normal for the month in terms of precipitation. But like I mentioned, every other day in the forecast is looking very nice, and looking at the rain chances the next 7 days, starting Friday night, there's almost a 0% chance of rain until potentially the end of next week. Very dry over the weekend, very dry for early next work week, and it's also going to be pretty mild. So let's take a look at the temperatures the next couple of days. 60s for highs for today. Again, we are going to see cloudy skies by the afternoon. And then tomorrow, with that rainfall, temperatures aren't going to be quite as nice, with highs in at the middle to upper 50s, but still not too bad. We're not going to see a lot of wind tomorrow, so it won't necessarily feel a lot cooler. But fast forward to the weekend, it's looking very nice over the weekend. Partly sunny with highs in the middle to lower 60s Saturday, but lower 70s are possible Sunday with almost complete sunshine. And both days, we're really not going to see a lot of wind, so when the sun is out, it may feel even warmer. But temperatures are only going to get warmer from there. Here's a look at the next 10 days. Middle 70s are in the forecast from Tuesday through the end of next week, so we're going to be seeing borderline summer-like temperatures although we will be nice, we may still be just a little bit below normal to end this week. So looking at the full 7 to 10 day forecast, on top of those 70s, we're really not expecting a lot of rainfall. Really, the only chance of rain will be that rain tonight into tomorrow. Could see some lingering showers Friday, but the weekend almost certainly going to be dry for much of next week, maybe some showers towards the end of next week, but right now nothing looks too confident for us. So it's really just going to be perfect after tomorrow. So don't get too worked up over the fact that, Thursday might not be the best day to spend outside. The weekend is going to be just about gorgeous and not really much to talk about around then. So just beautiful weather.
Yeah, I am looking forward. Thursday's not making me drag at all because the rest of the week looks great.
Yeah, and especially because we could use a little bit of rainfall. Like I mentioned, April was below normal, and we're going to be in a dry stretch next week, so we don't want to get into a drought, but right now we definitely could afford the break, and it's hard to complain when the temperatures are this nice.
Definitely. Jacob, thank you. And up next, let's see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
April showers may bring May flowers, but you know what else they bring? An appetite for all-in-one meals that are quick and easy. Any ideas as to what we're making today? Any? You know, April showers may bring May flowers, but you know what else they bring? An appetite for all-in-one meals that are quick and easy. Today's tasty recipe starts with a supermarket shortcut that I know you're gonna love. Let me show you. The first thing we do is combine some chicken broth, cream cheese, cheddar cheese, and a bit of black pepper over medium heat. We stir this until it melts and starts to thicken up. Then we add a package of frozen potato and onion pierogies that we boiled until they're tender. After everything is mixed, we pour this into a baking dish and pop it in the oven. And if you want to change it up, boy, do you have options, because you can always use a different cheese or try a different flavor pierogi. When this comes out of the oven, bubbling hot, top it with some crumbled bacon and sliced scallions and call the troops to the table. It's so easy and versatile. You can use this as a fill-you-up main dish, or it makes the perfect go-along. To get the recipe for what we call our cheesy bacon pierogi bake, just go online. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a pierogi-licious kind of way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Jacob, final check of the forecast.
Yeah, we're going to see pretty dry conditions for the rest of today, maybe some light rain by the evening, but we are going to see consistent rain tonight and for a good chunk of Thursday, especially Thursday morning. Could see some lingering showers Friday, but it will be good over the weekend.
See you on Live at 4. Have a great rest of your day.